So guys, before I get into this, if you don't do anything else, go through links at the bottom. There's another link what I didn't mention, the Neo-Marxist playbook. I'll put a link to that video underneath. You might find that interesting. But if you are going to comment, watch all the video. At the risk of causing controversy, I'm going to speak about the EU army. Now, they said it was never going to happen, didn't they? But now, Merkel and Macron have signed a treaty today which brings it one step closer of a Franco-German, the Franco-German motor, as they call it, which means that, or as it seems from what they're writing, is that there will be, Germany and France will be the EU army. Now, obviously, Germany's already got an army, France has got an army, all the other countries in the EU have some sort of military force, yeah? Now, I find that quite scary, if that's just going to be controlled, the EU army is just going to be controlled by Germany and France. Because what is the EU? The EU was a bloc set up for trading, just trading, not making laws for countries. They tried to make a level playing field with the laws for the trading and the standards, yeah? That's with the laws, but they're controlling every law now. And the EU is not a country. So how can they have an army as such? Now, if it's just Germany and France, then how does that work out for all other people who are part of the EU? I mean, would it mean that they could send troops to control some of the countries that aren't agreeing totally with their rules? Hungary, Poland, for instance. Would that happen? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they'd get away with it. They're also saying that it would be part of NATO, but we've already got NATO. And the German army and the French army are part of NATO. Yeah? So, I don't know what how they're working it. So how would they pay for it? Now, I don't know, because obviously all the countries in NATO pay, or are supposed to pay 2% of the GDP, yeah? Now, if it was just a German and French thing, and calling themselves the European army, will they be charging all the European countries 2% of the GDP? Which wouldn't be fair, would it, really? Well, I don't think it would be. Now, I don't know about this. I know the guy Verhofstadt, he said that every country having an army is a waste of money. So they all should come together and make one European army, and that would stop any problems. That there would never be another war in Europe. But wouldn't, like I said with the Roman legions, would that allow whoever's in charge of the EU at the time to bully other countries, and the countries have absolutely no defence? You know what I mean? So I don't know, but paying for it, that'll be a point. I mean, would the Germans and the French people be happy to pay for it, or will there be more yellow vests on the streets to stop that? So that's just another point that strikes a chord. Now, I don't know if you knew how the Roman Empire worked, but it was the Roman Empire covered many countries, yeah, and they had legions from each of these countries. And if there were problems in one country, then they'd send a legion from a different country to control the problem. And that's because, well, say Germany and France. Say Germany wants to quell the problems with the yellow vests. They can send German soldiers, not the French soldiers, because the French soldiers would have empathy with their people. Yeah, they're from their country, so they can have empathy. Whereas the German soldiers will have no empathy for those people. They're just working under orders. As they said in the concentration camps, we were just taking orders. Yeah? Now, I've got nothing against any of the peoples of Europe. Right? All the European people. The governments that cause wars and governments that cause problems. Yeah? The EU is not even a government. It's a bunch of bureaucrats that are unelected, and you can't vote them in and you can't vote them out. They have secret votes so that nobody knows what they're doing until they've done. They vote for their own leaders. You don't get to vote for their leaders as a person of the EU. Right? That's my biggest problem with the EU it's a monster, right? And nobody's got any control over it. Now, The last time Germany wanted to have an army and take control, they were having some downturns with their, like now with their manufacturing. So can you see, sort of, we should learn from history, not repeat it, shouldn't we? I mean, I don't honestly think that they're going to start a world war again, right? But what they're doing is very frightening. They're going to have their own force, which only they control in reality, you know? So, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Now, another thing is there's the Frankfurt 11-point plan, school plan. Now, I'll put links to the story that's talking about the German army, the EU army. All right, I'll put a link in bottom for that. You can read it. And also this Frankfurt plan. This was written a long time ago. It's called the Frankfurt plan. And you look at what's happening now politically and in schools, and how things are turning out across Europe. It was like a plan to bring the West down to its knees, and they get in there if this plan is absolutely correct, or if that's what they're working to. So I don't know. Just another thought on that on Brexit thing, which I find quite funny. They're talking about this Irish backstop, about a border in Ireland, a hard border in Ireland, right? If they're an hard border in Ireland and it's as good as the southern border to the rest of the world, then there'll be thousands of people travelling across that border and nobody will know any difference anyway. So that shouldn't be ever been a problem. If you liked what you saw, or you didn't like what you see or heard, put a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm totally open to sensible discussion. Now, I'm going to put a definition here. That's the definition of bigotry, which is somebody who will stop you from having an open opinion, right, or is against your opinion, and try and close you down by, basically intolerant to other opinions. So that's bigotry, right? Now, again, I know a lot of people might not comment on this because they're afraid of people shouting nasty words at them, which is a form of bigotry. So any of those people, obviously, you can leave a comment as long as you've got a sensible argument. And if you're intolerant of my argument, then therefore you could fall under that last category I've just mentioned. I'm always up for free speech, and I'm up for democracy. The EU's not a democracy in any way or form. But again, leave a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, and it's nice to be nice.